Morning. Nice to see so many familiar faces. So what this class is about is how America surrendered to the advance guard of the British invasion and how the Beatles and the Rolling Stones really came to define rock and roll in the 1960s. What is this course all about? In '64, the two bands came, saw, and conquered. What we tend to sometimes overlook is that they took our musical birthright, rock and roll, and showed us how it could be done, making history and millions of dollars doing it. We'll examine 6 phases in the history of each band and explore how these young, talented Brits parlayed their obsession with our music into fame and fortune. This course will examine how rockabilly and rhythm and blues was the musical launching pad for these bands and how their careers paralleled each other in the 1960s. Although the Stones have been together since 1962, our class will only look at that period when both bands were active, 62 to 69. So what should I expect if I sign up for this course? Each session will include the following: a background lecture about each period, including influences, key events and players, similarities and differences, personal stories. I'll include a PowerPoint slideshow to help visually chronicle the timeline of what was happening in the lives of these bands, CDs and film clips that I've selected of these artists performing songs associated with each period, a live music component where I play guitar and I play piano and I sing. And I'm going to have some guest artists helping me too this session. And I'll do some of the songs that were the trademarks of those periods. The occasional discussion of melodies and chord changes and lyrics and things like that is going to take place in the class, and recording techniques. But don't worry, there's not going to be any music lessons in this class, okay? It's just going to be fun stuff that helps support the class. A question and answer period like we always do at the end of every session where people can comment and reminisce about some of the things that they may have lived through related to these groups. So what exactly will the course cover, and how is it structured by week? Week 1 will be about the early days, 60 to 62, how the Beatles emulated their heroes from across the pond like Elvis and Little Richard and Fats Domino and Chuck Berry, and how Germany beckoned and they paid their dues in the clubs in Hamburg and got tight. And in London, when Brian Jones, a 20-year-old brilliant jazz musician, son of amateur jazz musicians, put an ad in the paper and a couple of young guys responded, and the rest was history. Then it moves into 1963, how 2 really tight bands parlayed their respective images into major label record deals, and how their respective managers, Brian Epstein and Andrew Loog Oldham, made them into stars. Week 3, the insanity that was '64, when John and Paul realized that 2 heads were better than 1, and Mick and Keith wrote songs, and Brian experimented. Week 4, superstardom beckoned. 1965, the Stones continued to honor their R&B idols, cutting 2 covers for every original record and break through with their first original record recorded in America, while the Beatles make several albums that'll last forever, every cut a winner. Week 5, success comes with a cost. 1966 to 67, the Beatles continue to write great songs and set up shop in the studio, creating classic albums at a breakneck pace, while the Stones top the charts and controversy follows them around. And the final week, the final class will be The Game Changes, 68 and 69. For one group, The Long Farewell, and for the other, Settling In for the Long Haul, when the Beatles put out some of their greatest records and the Stones were just beginning to launch their golden era. I hope you all sign up because I believe this class will be a lot of fun. It'll not only resurrect some nice memories, but hopefully shed some new light on some timeless music and musical times that are just as relevant as ever. I'm just your tour guide. The real magic is in the grooves. So I hope to see you Wednesday, January 27th, 10 o'clock sharp.
Great.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pete. Yeah.